Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to No Name Gaming. My name is Alex Light here at Racing Lights Productions, your home for sim racing. We are live at the virtual Road America for the Online Motorsports Association Virtual Racing Championship. Thank you, OMA fans 40. We're back to making right-hand turns in our second road course race of the season. Our previous road course, Watkins Glen, was dominated by the rookies Min Hang and Eric O'Connor. Eric showed amazing pace to hunt down Min at the end of the race to get his first win in the OMA VRC. Will we see the rookies dominate again? Sorry about that. There are some drivers that are making their returns tonight after missing a few races. Those drivers being Jolene Sims, JT Sipes, Jake Cummings, and Brandon Schulenberger. I do want to take a moment to apologize about the standings graphics for tonight. I did not have a chance to update them prior to the race. However, Tim Moore retains his lead while still looking for his first win of the season. Drew Jua, Jared Talmadge, Jolene Sims, and Min Hang round out the top 5 in points. The rest of the top 10 is as follows: Isaac Shelley, Eric O'Connor, Kevin Yerguez, James Mendez, and Jonathan Amodio. Just outside of the top 10, looking for a spot into the playoffs, would be Kyle England, JT Sipes, Ryan Miniker, Tyler Glass, and Brad Quaz. Rounds out our top 15. We're just barely halfway through the regular season. Last week kicked off the second half of the regular season. There's still plenty of time for those drivers outside of the playoffs to make a push for the playoffs. Still many drivers looking for a first win here on the season. But the remainder of the regular season schedule is definitely not an easy one. Let's go take a look at that. So looking at the schedule here for the rest of the regular season, next week we go to Indianapolis for the very unique, every corner is different racetrack, that rectangle, 2.5 miles. It's a fun track, really good. Should be some entertaining racing here in the Gen 7 car. But going past Indianapolis, we then have Homestead, which is a very tough track. It takes a lot of skill to be able to maneuver that car around with pace, to be able to save tires, be able to find a line to make passing. It's a good multi-groove track because you can run basically any spot on the track. Then we go to New Hampshire. After that, New Hampshire short track racing, much different from Homestead. Then we go to some street course racing to a actually designed street course in Long Beach. And then rounding out the regular season finale will be a gamble for a lot of these drivers at Las Vegas. So that's your rest of your regular season schedule. We'll get to the playoffs whenever we get to that point. Still have some time for that, so we're not too worried about it. But just taking a look here at the playoff schedule, it's definitely a mixed bag of things. You've got some intermediates, you have a super speedway, you even have a road course in there. Michigan is definitely an interesting track, especially in these next gen cars. They don't tend to bunch up as much as the Gen 6 cars or the trucks do. It's not as much pack racing, but there is some multi-groove racing similar to Auto Club. You also have short track racing in both Richmond and Phoenix. Even though Phoenix is a mile long, it kind of acts like a short track. You have Talladega, so it could be a real shakeup for the drivers there. The Charlotte Roval, which is, I think, a pretty tough Roval course, but we'll see how the drivers handle that when we get there. And then the season finale takes place at Chicagoland. So qualifying just about wrapped up, and it looks like Eric O'Connor will be on the pole here tonight. But we're just waiting for qualifying to officially finish before we go ahead and wrap up and announce our starting lineup. Not a huge field here tonight, unfortunately. Some drivers traveling, visiting the Atlanta Motor Speedway for the NASCAR weekend. I know Drew Drew, one of those drivers, and there are a couple others who are also at Atlanta. So hopefully we'll have more drivers back next week when we go to Homestead. Sorry, my apologies. You can hear my dog in the background. He is in my room and wants out, so I'm going to let him out real quick. There we go. And with that, we actually have the starting lineup all set. So let's run through your starting lineup. while we wait for the drivers to take the grid. On pole will be Eric O'Connor. So he won the last road course at Watkins Glen. He takes pole by about 0.3 of a second. Starting on his outside will be Isaac Shelley in the 98 machine. Going into the second row will be Jolene Sims and Min Hangs, the teammates from McGinnis Motorsports, next to each other. Rounding out the top 5 is Jake Cummings. There's a big difference in time there. You can see we go from half second back to about 2.5 seconds back. Next to Jake Cummings in row 3 is Tim Moore. Row 4, we have Kyle England and JT Sipes. In row 5, rounding out your top 10, we have Jared Newton and Brandon Schulenberger. Outside of the top 10 in row 6, we've got Kevin Yerguez and James Mendez. Then in row 7, we have Brad Quall Sr. and Jonathan Amodio. And then rounding out your field for tonight, we have Tyler Glass. So that's our starting lineup here for tonight. And we're just waiting for the pace car to take off here. And we'll get going around this 14-turn track, 4 miles. It is quite the track. Some iconic corners in here as well. So we'll see how things go. You can take a look here at the track map heading into this. And a little fun fact, I like to throw some of those in every now and then. It's really interesting to see how long that front stretch is. It's actually longer than 3 current NASCAR tracks, Martinsville, Bristol, and Richmond. It's almost a mile long on that front stretch. So we are rolling, getting things underway. Only a short pace lap. They're starting out of Canada corner, so they only have, I think, just 1 corner to go. Yeah, they're on the front stretch already. So, they just come up the hill. Pace car is off. I'll take a look as they come up the hill from Barney the Flagman. Beautiful shot here. Green flag is out. The field is in hands of Eric O'Connor. And we are green flag racing at Road America. A good jump here from Isaac Shelley on the outside is actually going to get him up to the lead. We've got Min Hang trying to follow, so that's going to drop back your pole sitter, Eric O'Connor, to 3rd place. A very good start, though, from both Shelley and Hang. But we'll see Eric O'Connor. He definitely gained pace as he went throughout the Watkins Glen race. Looking behind, battle between Jake Cummings and Jolene Sims as they go side by side there as we go down the Moraine sweep. And oh, Tim Moore makes contact back there with somebody. He is off in the grass. You got JT Sipes in there as well. James Mendez was sliding across the track. He does save it. We are still pretty clean there. That was, I mean, considering what we saw happen, looks very, very clean. Just a little bit of damage there to the 69 car of Tim Moore. You can see that right, front and left. A little beat up. And it seems like the car seems to be running okay. We'll see if he can just get back into the groove of things and get back up into the top 10. So going back up to the front of the field, though, Isaac Shelley and Min Hang starting to pull away with it. They find themselves about a second ahead of Jolene Sims, Eric O'Connor, and then you have Jake Cummings has fallen off just a little bit, not too bad. One thing we will do here is we're going to pull up the track map. That way you can see where everybody is on track, so it shows their car number. You can kind of see how the field spreads out as we go, where everybody is on track. So as we come down into Canada corner, Isaac Shelley looking to lead a lap 1 here at Road America. And Jolene Sims has caught them just a little bit, not too much, but it almost seems like maybe some drivers being a little conservative here after that start, trying to get that track position. But here at Road America, lots of passing zones, lots of heavy braking. It's a long race. I mean, you got 40 laps to go. It's a 4-mile track. You're doing 160 miles in these Cup cars, and it's not an easy track to do for these cars, because you reach some really high speeds, and they do not handle very hard braking too well. But as we go throughout the field here, let's go take a look at a battle going on a little bit further back. Tim Moore, James Mendez coming down the front stretch. Tim Moore trying to see if he can find a way around the 92 car. As they come down turn 1, not really going to have much going for him there. You can see trying to set things up, trying to take wide entries, see if he can carry more speed through the corner, get a stronger exit. He has a good exit there. Going to be right on the back end of the 92, as well as have the draft. can see he takes a look to the right-hand side. Can't get that there. Goes to the left side. As they come down through turn 4, going to turn 5. It's going to be a hard braking zone into this 90-degree corner. Lots of runoff, though, if the 92 needs to use it, but he's not going to take advantage of that. Tim Moore makes a really clean pass to put him up into 9th place. Going up ahead here, we have a 3-way battle. This is between Brandon Schulenberger, Kyle England, and JT Sipes. So you got Schulenberger in the Mobile 1 car in the 5 machine. Haven't seen him in a while. It's nice to see him back on track. Welcome back to Brandon. And he's got himself a 6th place right now, doing a really good job. And he's actually pulling away from Kyle England and JT Sipes as they go around the carousel. After coming around the carousel, they're going to take that right hand into the kink as they go down the long straightaway heading up to Canada Corner. Schulenberger pulling away. JT Sipes falling off a little bit here from Kyle England. But it's going to work out pretty nicely here as Kyle might be able to focus in on Brandon up ahead. Pretty good through the braking zone. Gained some time on JT as well as Brandon. So he's going to be able to make a move here, possibly down the front stretch, close it up to maybe a car length away. He makes a phenomenal pace there coming into the final corner, up down to the front stretch. And we're going to see Brandon Schulenberger get under some pressure here from Kyle England. Kyle England has had some phenomenal results as of late. He's been doing a really good job getting some solid points. Kansas last week was one of those races. But he's looking to continue that trend of strong finishes as he's looking to try and get into the playoffs. Loses a little bit of time down the front stretch, actually, on Kyle England, but you can see through turn 1 and 2 here, gaining some time. So he's really good under braking. He's getting that car down really, really well. He's able to carry a lot of speed through the corner, and now he should be able to make a move, similar to what we saw Tim Moore down the stretch here, down the Moraine sweep, through the Sargento sign there, and they are side by side as they're going to go down into turn 5. Hard braking zone here, and he gives plenty of room to Schulenberger on the outside line. They're going to go side by side as we go up into turn 6, and we see Schulenberger get sideways, catches a little bit of the grass, and that car is going to slide on him real hard. Thankfully doesn't hit any wall or anything like that, doesn't take any damage, is able to just save it real clean. And we also have, you look further behind, Tim Moore also had some trouble coming up the hill, so he lost all those positions he gained. He had moved up to 9th, now finds himself back in 11th place. Moving back up the track here, Jolene Sims, Eric O'Connor, they actually found their ways around both Min Hang and Isaac Shelley. So Min Hang and Shelley both drop back down to 3rd and 4th, respectively, as they come down this long straightaway to Canada's Corner. Good pace there from Min Hang. He runs that so smooth, is able to carry so much speed through those faster corners. He's trying to catch up to Eric O'Connor, has some good pace up the hill as they come into turn 14. And they make their way down the front stretch. Jolene Sims, she's trying to pull away, has about a 1 3/4 second lead. And we'll see if that can continue to grow as we see some battling going on between these guys. It's going to start to get closer and closer as you see Min Hang closing in within a half second there of Eric O'Connor. Goes for heavy braking, trying to go for that slow in, fast out mentality. You can see gets a little bit of time on the exit. The battle marker down in the bottom right shows the distances they have between each other. But then turn 3 a little bit slower there for Min Hang. Moving further back in the field, another battle going on here. James Mendez and Brandon Schulenberger. Schulenberger's dropping a little bit. He's back to 9th place now, unfortunately. He was doing really well. Looking to get that back as he goes side by side with Mendez as they come around the Moraine sweep. And they're going to look to go into turn 5. We'll see who's going to go late on braking. Is Schulenberger maybe going to go for the crossover move? Go slow on entry and try to get him on the inside. Locks it up a little bit, and Kyle England is off track. He gets it going again. Must have locked it up. Let's go take a look at what had happened there with the 35 machine. He comes around the moraine sweep. He's going to come down into turn 5. Now let's see what happens here to the car. My assumption is he probably just locks it up or it gets a little tight. Yeah, car locks up. Didn't want to turn. So thankfully nothing bad happened to the car. Just unfortunate that he ends up running it off track. Going to cost him a lot of time. And Kyle England, and he spun it again! Kyle, why? And actually, Jared Newton had also had spun it here. It looks like he's fallen off a lot there on the pace. But now, Kyle England, he's holding on to 10th place. He's got Tyler Glass and Jonathan Amodio behind him. They're going to be looking to fight for that position. Jonathan Modio looking to make a move here on Tyler Glass. Looks to the right-hand side, decides it's not worth it, hangs back a little bit longer, and to try and maybe set something up into the front stretch. Tyler Glass, a huge lockup. He runs into the kitty litter there on the exit. It's going to slow him up a lot. Amodio goes to the right-hand side as they come up the hill. He's going to be able to make that pass nice and clean. Going to try and clean off those tires. Amodio's going to try and make some distance here between the two of them and maybe even try and hunt down Kyle England. Schulenberger, checking back in with him. He's actually pulling away a little bit from James Mendez. He's got a while to go, but he locks it up going into turn 3. That's going to run him way off track. Tim Moore is actually going to close in on him and should be able to make a pass here. Yes, he does. It's unfortunate for Schulenberger. He finds himself back to 9th place. Checking in on the race leaders, Jolene Sims. Seen her gap drop down to less than a second now. Eric O'Connor got those tires warmed up nicely. He is now feeling it. He's getting in the rhythm as they come around the carousel and get ready to head down to the kink. Last lap, Eric O'Connor ran a 2:11.45. Jolene Sims ran a 2:12, and actually you can see the lap times there on the timing tower. That is their last lap for the race. You can see just where he gained some time there. But they come into Canada Corner. He carries a lot of momentum through there, but Jillian Sims gets a slightly better exit. She's able to get more speed up the hill here. You can see they are using as much of the track as they can here coming up the hill. And now heading into turn 14, we'll see what kind of move Eric O'Connor is going to try and set up, because he's going to have the draft here. It's not going to get him alongside her, but should be able to close this gap up a little bit. It's not really shrinking, kind of staying pretty steady. He's gonna lift real early. You can hear he gets off throttle real early, gets onto the brake, uses that engine braking, so you gotta shift down earlier than you expect, and it helps slow down the car without having to use some extra brake. And interesting to see, he's not using a ton of runoff there. He's actually keeping it mostly on the track. You see Jolene runs a little bit more of the runoff, trying to see if she can get a little bit more pace using those curves on the outside. Now as we come down into turn 5, he brakes much later. He gains a lot of time into turn 5. You can see Jolene almost sliding it a little bit there through turn 6, but is able to get a good exit. Now we're approaching the carousel. And you can see she just has it's a little bit more unstable, it seems like, than what Eric has. Eric is able to keep that car nice and smooth as they go around the carousel. But Jolene is able to get a good exit. She has some really good momentum. Coming in the kink, you have to lift in the cup cars. Unfortunately, the downforce is not as strong as you would have in like a GT or an open wheeler, where those can pretty much go full throttle through the kink. But he loses a good bit of time through there as they come into Canada Corner. And he's not going to be able to close up the gap just enough. He tries, just can't seem to get it. She gets really good exits While he is better under braking, she's better on the exits, getting on throttle. But still plenty of race. We're still only finishing lap 7 here, so there's a lot of time to go to be able to make a move, and they are separating themselves from the field because you look behind, Min Heng still 6 seconds away, and Isaac Shelley even further back by another second. We've spread out a good bit throughout the field. And the big thing that we've seen so far from some of these drivers is just, it is a tough track. It's not easy. There's some spots where the car just doesn't like it. The one thing we've learned about this next-gen car, especially through, it wasn't as much through Watkins Glen, but if you ran CODA earlier in the NIS season, you learned that the car does not like elevation. Anytime you make quick changes in elevation, it just does not like it. Like coming up here from turn 5 to turn 6, the car does not like how that handles. It breaks loose really easily as you come up that hill. But some of these guys doing a really good job, like we see up here. Eric and Jolene doing a phenomenal job of controlling that car coming up that hill. Looking a little bit further back, Min Heng, he's got himself a pretty sizable gap at this point to Isaac Shelley. You can see Isaac Shelley about a second back. So depending on where he runs, he can be in the draft, but it's pretty small at this point. We'll see if he's going to be able to bounce that back and be able to make some moves. For right now, it just seems like Min Heng, he's got some solid pace, but it's just not enough right now to catch back up with the two in front. They are just in another world right now. You can see, like I said, you can see last laps here on the left-hand side of the screen. The only other driver that is matching those lap times would be that of Isaac Shelley. I mean, Min Heng has been able to do that. He's been running 212s. He must have had like a moment where the car broke loose on him, or he ran it a bit wide, which is why he ran a 214. But for the most part, they're in a world of their own up front. Kyle England, taking a look at him. He's currently sitting 10th place. He's got Jared Newton in front of him. Newton had to come down pit road on lap 4. And so Kevin, wow, I can't get his name for some reason. Kyle England can make that move around. He's going to try and see if he can hunt down Schulenberger. Schulenberger, you can see a little bit off screen there. He's heading up the hill into turn 14 now. So Kyle's got about 6 seconds to work here to be able to catch up with the 5 machine. But I mean, if he keeps consistent, if he's able to get that car moving, as well as Schulenberger, they have a couple cars in front for position, those being Tim Moore and James Mendez. You can see Mendez heading into turn 1, Tim Moore also heading turn 1. So there's a bunch of them really close to each other. They just haven't gotten quite up to each other. Just finding that little bit of pace where some people struggling a little bit for. You can see Tim Moore just has not had the best of days so far. Got involved with an incident on the opening lap, as well as running into the grass a couple laps later. But still finds himself in 8th place. And hey, it's going to be a good point save regardless. Drew Jua not here, so he's 2nd place right now in points. He'll be able to widen his gap on Drew. However, Jolene Sims is currently in the lead, so she's not only going to get pretty good stage points as long as nothing goes wrong up there for either 1st or 2nd, but assuming she continues to show the pace that she does, will be able to get herself really strong points for the finish. So it's going to be really interesting to show what's going to happen here with Tim Moore and his points lead. Will he be able to widen it? Going to have to try and make some moves here if he wants to be able to do so. Looks like Kevin Arguelles is out for the race now. He has sent the car to the garage and called it a day. Brad Qualls did not start, so 13 cars on track right now. And looking a little bit further ahead, we haven't looked at him too much here today. JT Sipes. JT Sipes makes his return after being absent for a few races. And he picked a hard one to show up to, that's for sure. This is not the easy track to run, especially in these next-gen cars. But he's doing a fairly good job of wheeling it around here. He's currently on top of it's almost like we're split into two groups. You have the guys who have some really solid pace, and then you have the rest of the field that they're running fairly clean, and they're just not as quick. They just don't have that same quickness that the front five do. I mean, you see he's currently 36 seconds off from Jolene Sims, but he has himself a 5-second gap back to James Mendez, and that gap seems to be growing little bit by little bit. But you look at the last lap, right now the fastest driver out of this second group would be Kyle England. He ran a 2:13.9, while the rest of them, I mean, you had 2:14s in front of him. James Mendez ran a 2:15, and JT that last lap ran a 2:16. So things could get interesting as we go closer to stage. We might see these drivers start to bunch up, depending on how the consistency is. If they continue to run similar lap times, we could see them really get the race on closer to lap 40. But going further up the track here, taking a look, checking in with Min Hang and Isaac Shelley. They're back at it again. Shelley has closed that gap down to less than half a second. Trying to see if he can catch Min Hang and get around for that podium spot. Shelley has tried time and time again this season, has not been able to get himself a win. He has come so close. Many times finding himself second or third, just cannot seem to get that elusive first place. Gets a phenomenal run out of Canada corner. Is going to take advantage of Min Hang running a little loose on the exit. That's going to be Isaac Shelley up to third place. Let's see if he can make a move now to get towards the front. He finds himself 9 seconds back, but you never know. Pit strategy could come to play here, depending on when they decide to come in for fuel. Just a reminder, stage break is at lap 20. So when they take the line at lap 20, that is when we will freeze the field and award the points for top 10. It's not at the completion of 20, it is at the start of 20. Looking at the track here, Jolene Sims, Eric O'Connor still going at it about a half second apart right now, but it seems like Eric O'Connor maybe just biding his time at this point. You can see struggling a little bit there under braking. Jolene Sims also sliding a little bit. He says brakes are glowing on that 6 car as she comes around turn 5. And she is sliding that 6 car around. That Ford is all over the place with the back end. And we'll see if that's going to affect the tire wear over time and see if it's going to affect how she can drive the car. But we'll see. I will say she has been very quick. Eric O'Connor has been much more stable and been able to have the same amount of pace. But we'll see how things go as we get later and later into the race. But looking back to, I believe it is James Mendez and Tim Moore, that is getting closer and closer. And if you look a little bit further back, the 5 car coming up the hill, not too far out of view as they go through turn 6 and turn 7 and get ready to approach the carousel. Tim Moore's done a phenomenal job of trying to hunt down the 92 machine. And you can see just over the past 5 laps, the amount of time that Tim Moore's been able to make up on James Mendez. Mendez has been running really steady in the 215s, but Tim Moore has been a little bit faster. Last lap was a 215 for Tim Moore. Some of those even dipping down into 214. But it just seems like he's got that little bit of extra pace. He's already passed James once. We'll see if he can make it happen again as they come down into Kettle Bottoms, going up to the Canada corner. They're coming down. It's going to be a hard braking zone. Tim Moore decides to back off, goes for the slow entry. Not going to be able to get the run off, but has the front stretch he can utilize, that's for sure. Gets a lot of pace coming up the hill. As they get into turn 14, can he carry a bit of a run? He locks it up a little bit. You saw right front lock up. Gonna slow him down a tad, but he should be able to at least keep that distance, maybe make a move into turn 1. We'll see if he can close this up. Unable to bring that gap too much closer together. And you can see Tim Moore braking earlier than James Mendez. But I think it's more of a passive thing. Doesn't want to get into the back end of Mendez and send him in a corner and ruin his race. Still plenty of time here till stage. We got 9 more laps to go. So no need to really force the issue right now if you're Tim Moore. But if he's able to work his way around Mendez, he might be able to make a move for JT Sipes if he can really get that pace going. Mendez goes to the right side, going to take away any opportunity for the 69 to go on the outside line there. And Mendez with a huge lockup into turn 5, runs way over, and that's actually going to be 2 spots lost there for Mendez. So Schulenberger is going to move up to 8th place, Tim Moore up to 7th. That's unfortunate. He was running really smooth, very consistent in that 92 car. But we've seen a couple drivers lock up now going into turn 5. And like I said, those hard braking zones are very challenging in this Gen 7 car because it's very easy to lock up those front tires heading on the entry. And if you lock it up, that car does not move. It just will not turn. It goes in a straight line as smooth as can be. One driver to take note of here out of this second group of cars is the 35 of Kyle England. Last lap, he was the fastest on the field out of this group from 6th back. And actually, taking a look from 5th place back. The front 4 running their own pace. He actually was a slight bit faster than Isaac Shelley last lap, but he's at least a second faster than these guys. You can see he's catching on Mendez. Schulenberger's coming into view there. So he's getting really, really close. And we actually have, I believe, Min Heng is off track there. Let's go see what happened there with the 2 car. He found himself way back now. He's into 5th place. Let's see if we can figure out what had happened with Min Heng. Coming down the front stretch. And falling off pace there. He actually had come off track once before. And just a lock up into turn 1. Trying to carry a little too much speed. Going for the later break. Ends up running the car through the kitty litter. Jake Cummings says, "Don't mind if I do. I will take that position, no problem." The 5th place now for Min Heng. Eric O'Connor, though, has taken the lead for the first time today. And he finds himself ahead of Jolene Sims. We'll see if that's going to hold, though, because she's going to put a lot of pressure on that 74 car. He's looking for his 2nd road course win of the season. Could he be the road course ringer here for the OMA VRC? It's very impressive the way he runs these road courses. Jolene Sims almost slides that one coming into turn 14. What a save from her. That was a scary moment there for the 4 car, or sorry, the 6 car, because the way she slid, she would have gone right to the outside wall, and that might have ended her day. Another battle going on track. Tim Moore and JT Sipes, and JT off pace, not sure what happened. Might have been off track there. While we have a moment, let's go take a look and see what did happen there to the 81 car. That is not the 81 car. Wrong replay, my apologies. Coming around the carousel, he's got himself a solid gap over Tim Moore. No problem out of the carousel. Is it into the kink where he maybe gets off track? Car maybe runs a little bit wide. Yeah, it does. Ooh! Hits that left side wall real hard. Doesn't look like there's damage, too much damage on the car. You see a little bit, but that's where Tim Moore makes his move. So now Tim Moore pulling away here. He's up to 6th place. And it kind of just seems that's where he's going to sit right now, which is not the best of days for him. He's had much better performances, but he'll definitely take it, considering he's not a huge fan of road courses. He was struggling early on in this race. He's done a phenomenal recovery drive if he can hold on to this 6th position. The field's starting to spread out a little bit here. Eric O'Connor's getting a little bit of a gap over Jolene Sims. Isaac Shelley running all by himself right now, but then the other battle we've got going on in track, about the closest one we've got, Jake Cummings. We haven't seen too much of him tonight, and Min Hang. So Jake Cummings running the Wingate University scheme, the scheme he runs in the Collegiate iRacing League. And if I'm not mistaken, I want to say he's made one of the eNASCAR College Series races as well. He's been doing a phenomenal job in his first race back since, I believe, Auto Club was the last time we saw him on track in the 95 car. Currently finds himself in 4th place. He's been running really consistent, really steady. You can just see the lap times here between him and Min Hang, which you can't really compare because Min Hang ran off track there. But his lap times have been really consistent, really smooth. He's been having a phenomenal drive for himself. And honestly, he can just keep this nice and steady. He found his fastest lap there on lap 13. He's definitely going to come away with a good result. And with a track like this, that's kind of half the battle, is trying to keep the car on track. It's not an easy thing to do. Because like we've seen multiple times, this track is not an easy track to drive. Couple drivers coming down pit road. Kyle Glass, JT Sipes both coming down. And I wonder if this is just to take the fuel now. It doesn't look like Sipes has damage that is considered a meatball flag, but we'll see how that goes for him. Tyler Glass came out of pit road, so he is now coming around. Finds himself a lap down in 12th place. But for somebody who doesn't regularly drive road courses, he did not drive at Watkins Glen. I think he'll take the fact that the car is still running almost halfway through the race as a victory in itself. He's been doing a really solid job just keeping that car as clean as he can, and that's half the battle. Looks like JT Sipes coming down. Yeah, taking the fast repair. Takes tires possibly. Tops off on fuel, and that should make it to the end. We'll have to wait and see. Taking a look, Min Hang hasn't really been able to close up on Jake Cummings. But another battle going on here. Kyle England has finally closed in on Brandon Schulenberger. Come around the kink. Down through Kettle Bottoms. Not going to go into candidate corner. He's going to look maybe to that right-hand side. You can see him swing it there. Not going to take a look to the inside coming through candidate corner, but is possibly going to try and set up something coming through the exit and up the hill. Kyle England has had a super fast car here, running times almost equivalent to the top 5. It's just being smart with the move and taking what Schulenberger gives you. We'll see what he decides to go for. They come down the front stretch, gets a great run off. He's going to close that gap up a lot. Will he elect to go to the inside? He does. Swings it really far to the right. They get ready to head down turn 1. They're going to be side by side. They're even coming into turn 1. He sends it far right to avoid any contact, and Schulenberger's going to give him all the room he needs as he accidentally runs into the grass. Comes back across the track, thankfully. Keeps it off the tire barrier there, but that's going to drop him another spot, and that's been his trouble here tonight. He's been doing really well, has good pace, but just makes small mistakes here and there that drop him a spot or two. Schulenberger's going to hold on to 9th place right now, see if maybe he can close up on James Mendez. That's why Kyle England now ahead. He's going to take this gap. He's got 5 seconds to hunt down Tim Moore. And we'll have to see if he can do that. Tim Moore coming out of turn 6 now, so you can get an idea of how far that gap is. And JT Sipes had another incident. Not sure what happened there coming through turn 14. But that car, just, it's not been his night. It actually looks like, is the car messed up at all? It almost seems like it's like crabbing down the track a little bit. It doesn't look like there's anything on the car. Seems okay, but he goes a lap down. So now the top 10 are the cars on the lead lap. Oh, and we see James Mendez off there out the exit of turn 1. Jake Cummings hang there as they come down the front stretch. Actually, let's take a look on board here. Let's go on board with the 2 car of hang. You can see here, this is from the roll bar view. A little bit of what's going on with this battle. He's trying to close in on Jake Cummings. He had phenomenal pace at Watkins Glen, but just doesn't seem to have that little bit of edge that he had at Watkins Glen here at Road America. Takes a peek to the left-hand side there, not going to opt for it. A little bit of a lockup from Cummings. He's going to try and take advantage of that. Does get a run. They go through turn 7. Oh my goodness, all the way up there to the bumper is Jake Cummings. Possibly making contact there. All right, it's hang up to 4th place and going to look to pull away from Cummings as they get ready to go through the carousel. My goodness, though, he came so close to making contact. Max asking in the chat, what is a really good NASCAR game to play? You don't have to pay a monthly service fee. Honestly, so getting into iRacing, it is expensive. There are ways to be able to kind of mitigate the expense and kind of keep it low, or as low as you can as you go. That's the problem. Getting in first is expensive. Once you have the content, you're basically just paying for the membership from there, and you can do it around Black Friday to get a cheaper discount. However, if you are looking for some NASCAR racing, I know that the OMA, the Online Motorsports Association, they do NASCAR Heat Series. They have the VHS Series as well as the STSS. So they have trucks and then cup cars over on NASCAR Heat 5. And I'm not sure if they're actively taking drivers, but definitely something you could look at. If you go to OMA_league on Twitter, you can check out all of that they have going on. You can see all the different leagues they do, because they also do some leagues through Forza, and they also do a league through the F1 2022 game. They have a whole bunch of different things they run. This is just one of the leagues. They actually used to have the VRC on NASCAR Heat 5, but they decided this season they're going to bump it to iRacing. And so this is the first time that they've been on iRacing this season. So hopefully that helps. Is NASCAR Heat good? I unfortunately cannot comment on that. I do not have NASCAR Heat. The last NASCAR video game I had was NASCAR Thunder 2005. That was the last NASCAR game I've had. Let me think. I've had 4. I had NASCAR. I think it was NASCAR Heat, like on the PC, like the old school NASCAR Heat game, like 2001 or something. I had NASCAR Dirt to Daytona on the GameCube, which was a phenomenal game. Absolutely loved it. NASCAR Thunder 2003, and then NASCAR Thunder 2005 Chase for the Cup. So, unfortunately, I have been outside of the NASCAR video game realm for quite a while. But I know a lot of these guys like Heat 5. I know that it's got, people have their opinions on it. Some good, some bad. But these guys, obviously, they enjoy it because they keep bringing leagues back to it season after season. And a big lock up there from Hang coming through Canada corner. And you can see Jake Cummings is pushing him up the hill. Could be an opportunity for Cummings to swing this back as they come around turn 14. He's going to take a really tight entry, see if he can maximize that exit. Should be able to have some pace here as they go down the front stretch. We come down now, 2 laps remaining until we hit our stage break. And actually, one thing to make note of, and we kind of like, I was talking before we had seen this happen. If we go up the track here, Jolene Sims is back to 3rd place. She had gone off track somewhere, and I'm not sure what had happened, but she ended up losing position to Isaac Shelley. Now let's go see what happened to Jolene. She was doing a phenomenal drive racing earlier. Comes through. Oh my goodness. Yeah, she spins it, runs it a bit wide coming out of Canada corner, and she finds herself all the way off in the gravel trap. Yeah, that I can see why we saw Isaac Shelley in 2nd place. That makes total sense. Going a little bit further back here, battle for 8th place, James Mendez. He's trying to hold on, but it seems like Schulenberger coming back time and time again. He's been doing a great job. He does have a good car. He's got great pace, but it's just consistency that seems to be killing him time and time again. Come through turn 3, we see, I believe that is the 8 car Tyler Glass off in the grass. Coming through the Sargento sign. Perfect sign for a track in Wisconsin, that is for sure. Coming down into turn 5, that's where we saw James Mendez lock it up earlier and give up a position to Tim Moore. Up the hill into turn 6, and Schulenberger just kind of waiting here behind right now. Turn 6, not a great passing zone, but turn 5 definitely, as we've seen several drivers make passes there. Getting ready to approach the carousel. We'll see if he tries to make a move through the kink. And don't look too much further ahead. Kyle England only about 3 seconds ahead of the two of them. So they definitely, if he can make his way around Mendez, if he can keep that pace, has an opportunity to try and pass Kyle England, who had an issue last lap himself. As they come down towards Canada corner. Good run here from Schulenberger. Will he try to make a move to the right-hand side? He takes a look. Mendez not going to give him that space. Is he going to try and go for the late break? He decides to hold off here as they go through Canada corner. We'll try and maybe make a move down towards the front stretch. We've seen a couple drivers make moves up the hill, but now Kyle England joins this battle as well as he falls back. So it's the battle for 7th place coming through turn 14. You get a view from all three cars here. Nice wide angle from the blimp. As they come ripping down the front stretch into turn 1. Hard braking zone that we have there. That tree line just perfect to block the view of the racing there as we go into the entry. You can see Mendez closes that gap a good bit, but Kyle England, like we've said, he's been faster on exits here tonight. Been really good racing as they go through turn 2 into turn 3. And Schulenberger almost getting to the back end there of the 92. That's going to allow England to get a little bit of breathing room here as Mendez tried to close that gap there. Had it down to about a quarter of a second, but then loses some time. Schulenberger looks to the left side into turn 5. Decides against it. A slight lock up there from the 5 car. He loses some ground there on the 92. And they're going to fall off a little bit from Kyle England. They should be able to bring it back, though. So it looks like they're going to drop off a little bit on pace. We have Jolene Sims down pit road. Looks like she is taking her pit stop, and we are at lap 20. That is going to be our stage. We're going to take our mid-race, our mid-race break here to do a full rundown of all the drivers and where they're at on track. Taking a look, your stage winner here at Road America for the Thank You OMA Fans 40 is the 74 rookie Eric O'Connor, looking to go back-to-back here at road courses. Currently in 2nd place, Isaac Shelley finds himself 16 seconds back. Then you have Jake Cummings in third. Jolene Sims is in fourth, and I'm not sure what's going on here. I thought she had come out of pit road, but apparently not. But then she is in fourth. Min Hang is down in pit road as well. He is in fifth. And interesting, he decided, as well as Jolene Sims, to take tires. But now up to fifth place. I mean, you still have to go through pit stops and everything, but Tim Moore finds himself up in fifth now instead of sixth. Going back to seventh will be Kyle England. Eighth place, James Mendez, and oh my goodness! Schulenberger. I can't tell if that was contact made. But we'll go back to that here. Give me one moment. Let's take a look at the nose of this 5-car and see what had happened going into turn one, and we'll get back to our mid-race break in a moment. So heading down turn one. Does make the slightest bit of contact. Yeah, a little bit of a heavy entry there from the 5-car, forces him to go wide, but honestly made the right move to avoid any further incident. So 9th place is Schulenberger. Going to 10th place, we have Jonathan Amodio. We haven't seen much from him today. He's been quietly running back there in 10th place. Then 2 laps down, we've got Jared Newton. He's back in 11th. Tyler Glass currently riding in 12th. JT Sipes, this hasn't been his night. He's currently on pit road. It looks like he's got a significant amount of damage. Then Kevin Yerguez is in 14th, and then Brad Qualls did not start tonight. He is in 15th. So the leaders coming down pit road: Eric O'Connor, Isaac Shelley, and Jake Cummings, all opting to come down this time. See Shelley coming down pit road as well. And there's Jake Cummings as he just joined down pit road. So it seems to be drivers are taking tires, possibly. Pit time that last lap for O'Connor and Shelley was 16 seconds. So that indicates they came in and they took full fuel and tires, which is rather interesting because the thing with these Gen 7 cars is that the tires are infamously really bad at the start of the run. They're very cold. They unfortunately don't have tire warmers like you do in F1. And so they really struggle for pace and grip. Like you see Eric O'Connor sliding down into turn 5. They're hard under braking. They don't like to grip. You don't have a lot of exit speed because you're sliding those rears on exit. And so we'll see, like you see there. Yep, Eric O'Connor coming up the hill in turn 6. That car slides around. And so it's kind of shocking to see these drivers opt for the tires. While, yes, it might help to keep them fresh, most of the time you see in these races, tires aren't really even a thought. I mean, it's an afterthought at that point because you don't want to cause yourself issues. Like you see Eric O'Connor, he is struggling for grip right now, where he wasn't having troubles at the end of that stint at stage. So other than Jonathan Amodio, the whole field has come through for their only stop of the race. The field has spread out a good bit at this point. Why don't we take a moment to go on board here. A lap with the 74 car, your current race leader, and he actually has the fastest lap of the race. Let's hop on board for a lap around Road America with the 74, Eric O'Connor. right, so that's a lap on board with the 74 Eric O'Connor, as he said his fastest lap of the race. So maybe those fresh tires are proving me wrong. They're working out there. Min Heng still fighting with Jake Cummings. You can see Cummings got back in front of Min Heng. And that is, they've been going back and forth here ever since Min Heng fell back to 4th, 5th place. We'll see if he'll be able to close that gap up. We got some drivers pretty close, a little bit further back as well. Another battle going on track right now as they head into the carousel will be that of Brandon Schulenberger and Kyle England. Huge lockup from Cummings as they head into turn 1. Gonna Min Heng an opportunity to go down to the right side. Is not going to take it as they go through turns 2 and 3. And decide to hang back. Just wait for an opportunity. He's putting the pressure on the 95. See if he can make him make a mistake. We're going further back as they go through down to Canada Corner, which one thing I gotta say, I was not expecting Canada Corner to get as messy as it is. Look at the inside there, how much dirt is kicked up through the middle of the corner, how many drivers are riding over those curbs into the grass, into the dirt, and kicking that all back up on track, causing the grip to fall off a little bit there. But Kyle England's going to look to make a move again on Schulenberger. He's not going to be able to get it there going into turn 14 as they come around to the front stretch. Uses all of that exit curbing. Not going to be enough, though, to be able to get him up the hill. He's going to lose a little bit of time on Schulenberger. We'll be able to reel it back in a little bit down the front stretch, but it's not going to be enough to bring him within striking distance. Schulenberger with a lock up through turn 1. Causes him to run off track there through into turns 2 and 3. Losing a lot of pace as they head down the hill. Really tight, get some understeer there through turn 3. And it's going to be Kyle England up to 8th place. Schulenberger is going to try and see if he can make a move back. Oops, wrong way there. Schulenberger is going to try and make a move back as they head into turns 4 and 5. It just does not have that pace off the exit there as they went through the moraine sweep, and is actually going to lose a lot of time through turn 5. You can see Kyle England is using every bit of that runoff, but it doesn't work out there for him as he loses a lot of time to Schulenberger behind. Schulenberger just going to hang in there. He's doing the best he can to stay right there, about a half second away from Kyle England. For the most part, Kyle's got really good entries. Schulenberger's been doing a little bit better exits. But as they go to the carousel, it looks like a little bit of more speed coming out of that 35 car than the 5. And we'll see what happens here as they go down towards Canada Corner. If he can carry through the kink really well, he might be able to gain a lot of time on Kyle. But it doesn't seem like he got as big of a run as he would have liked. He finds himself a half second back up to Canada Corner. Oh my goodness! The 35 blew his engine. That is the 35's day. I don't know if he downshifted earlier or what, but he blew his engine. Let's take a look here. Listen to the car as we go on board. What happened here with Kyle England? It's hard to tell. We'll run that back again and see if we can figure out what happened to the 35 car. Let's try listening to it on... There we go. Let's see, was it an early downshift that killed the car? Yeah, he shifted way too early down to 3rd gear and ended up just blowing the engine. So after what's been a decent run there for Kyle England, that is going to be his day. Unfortunately, that car will not be repairable. So that's one of the OCM drivers out of the race here for tonight. I will say this is going to be a really good points day for McGuinness Motorsports, as you have a couple of them up in the top 5. OCM trying to see if they can hold on to that points lead over McGinnis Motorsports. If you think of the team standings right now with Eric Connor in first, that's definitely helping out OCM. Tim Moore back in sixth, kind of negates Jolene Sims and Min Hang in second and fifth. Good move here from Min Hang as he goes around to the outside through the Moraine sweep. Jake Cummings, is he going to look to make a move through turn 5? Not going to elect to go for the inside line. Actually, he does. Min Hang looks like he locks it up going through the entry. So that's going to be P4 back there for the 95. These two have been at it all race long. It's been very impressive, the battling they've been able to do. Been very clean, respectful racing. And it's been a lot of almost like chess moves there from Min Hang, because he's been very patient. He's had moments where he's been able to make moves on Jake Cummings, but he's been still pretty conservative about some of them. So we'll see what he decides to do, if he can close up that gap just over a second away. But now he doesn't have to worry about trying to run into the 95. He can push that pace a little bit as he tries to close that gap up. Taking a look at another car on track. He's been just slowly and steadily running his race. The 92 of James Mendez. He's got Schulenberger behind. As Schulenberger, you can see just off a view there, coming through turn 5. He's trying to close up this gap. Has about 2 seconds to go on James Mendez. And even though Mendez might not be the fastest car on track, has been running really steady. He's up 5 spots from where he started, up into 7th place. And other than Tyler Glass and Jonathan Amodio, he's the other big mover, the hard charger of the night, up 5 spots. We'll see if he can hold off Brandon Schulenberger. We'll be able to hold on to that shared title. But Schulenberger has definitely had pace throughout this race. And you can see there in the right-hand corner, Schulenberger getting within striking distance, less than a second away as we head into Canada Corner. And great view as the tree line and hillside blocks the entire back sector of the track. There we go. We're back into view as they come around for turns 13 and 14. And a lot of time gained there by Schulenberger coming through that final sector. You can just see Schulenberger has a lot of pace through sectors 2, 3, and 4. Sector 5, maybe not his best. Same with sector 6, but that first part of the track, a lot of speed there for the 5 car. So we'll see if he's going to try and make a move on Mendez here through the middle section of the track, because he is... oh, never mind, Mendez. Oh, he makes contact with the 5 car. Oh, that is so unfortunate there for Schulenberger. Gets tagged by Mendez completely incidentally. He just missed the entry there. And we can get a better look at that front end there of the 5 car. Doesn't seem like the damage is too bad. A little bit of damage to the nose, a little bit to the right front. But it shouldn't slow down the car much, if at all. The steering shouldn't be affected, but we'll never know here until later on to see. It doesn't seem like it's crabbing at all. So it seems like the car is okay for the most part. Just might be a little unstable under braking for a little bit while he gets those tires nice and comfortable again. Here's a driver we haven't talked about too much here tonight, Isaac Shelley. Shelley has been running a very smooth and quiet race here tonight. got into a little bit of battles early on in the race, but then just kind of found himself just quietly running third. Hasn't really had too much excitement going on. He's just been running his race at this point, currently 6 seconds behind Jolene Sims. And he's just been... It's unfortunately, he's got the pace, he's got a good car. It just isn't enough to match the guys at the front, and he had a couple incidents earlier on in the race that really slowed him up. I mean, looking throughout the season, he has had himself some phenomenal finishes, that's for sure. Because let's go through here his finishes. At Daytona wasn't a good one. He finished in 13th, but then Auto Club, he finished in 4th, 3rd at Iowa. I do not believe, oh, he did, actually, sorry, Charlotte, he got wrecked, but he, 4th place at Watkins Glen. He was 3rd place at New Atlanta. So it's been good running for him whenever he's able to keep the car clean. He's looking for another 3rd place here tonight. That'll be his 3rd of the season. We'll see if he can hold on to that. One thing really interesting there for one of our rookies, Eric O'Connor. This is his first stage win of the season. Taking the stage here at Road America is his first stage win, and actually is looking to be the first driver to sweep for the season. They've not had a driver. Oh, the 98 is off track. Unfortunate, but thankfully has a good bit of gap to buffer here. See, the next cars coming down are coming through turn 1 now. But like I was saying, none of our drivers have swept stage and the race. The closest we've had, I believe, is Drew Jua. I believe it was Auto Club, if I remember correctly. Or no, I lied. I believe Drew won. Yeah, he won Iowa and he got halfway. Never mind. So we actually would have our second sweep in stage and race victory. So we'll see how that plays out, though. My apologies. But 13 to go as this race is winding down. As you can see, the only action really going on track still between the 2 and the 95. They've been going back and forth. Minhang is in front right now. Cummings trying to look if he can make a move. Doesn't really have much of a lane there. Can't really get too much. And we have the 5 car of Schulenberger has gone a lap down now. James Mendez also looking to go a lap down here as Eric O'Connor is right on his tail. They head into turn 3. And Eric O'Connor has had smooth sailing here tonight. It's been great racing from him. Hasn't really had too many issues outside of the beginning of the race where he was having some really good battling with Jolene Sims. But once he passed Jolene, it was just all eyes ahead. Didn't have to worry about the back end at all. And so we're going to have another car go a lap down with the top six now on the lead lap. We'll see if he will be able to catch Tim Moore, but it's looking unlikely. Tim Moore is still a good bit ahead on the track as he's coming around turn 13 and then turn 14. You have Eric O'Connor just coming around the carousel, so he's got a lot of ground to go if he wants to try and pass his teammate. Like I said at the top of the broadcast, make sure you join us next week as we are going to go back to some intermediate ovals. We have Homestead, which is going to be a really exciting race. Homestead, definitely not an easy track. Or sorry, not Homestead. Sorry, Homestead is the week after. Indianapolis is next week, which Indianapolis should be really exciting. Having a very unique rectangle track. 4 very unique corners coming around on the very infamous oval. Well, quote, oval. But we'll see how Indianapolis runs. I've run a race or 2 there in these next gen cars, and they race much different from the Gen 6 cars. So we'll see if we can get some really exciting action there with these cars. And we'll also have a lot of drivers back because, like we said at the top of the broadcast, a lot of drivers missing this week traveling. I know a bunch of drivers are at Atlanta tonight. One of those being Drew Jua. He told us last week that he was not going to be here. And a couple other drivers either going to the track or traveling with the holiday-ish weekend. So we should be back to a full force field next weekend. Well, we do have a little bit of a break in the action too. One thing I want to remind you guys, if you have not seen over on Twitter, on Tuesday we are starting up a new league. We are going to have the American Motorsports Association Late Model Stock Car League join the broadcast schedule. So we're going to have some short track racing every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you join us for those broadcasts. Their first race is going to be taking place at Hickory Motor Speedway. That's going to be really intense racing, bull ring track. If you've never seen a bull ring race, make sure you tune in because it is bumper to bumper action. You're going to see a lot of pushing and shoving. Robin is definitely racing when it comes to the bull rings. And Hang has just been able to separate himself a little bit here from Jake Cummings. He's been keeping him at a good distance at this point. There was a while they were both on top of each other pretty close, but it seems like after that last pass, Min Hang has been able to keep Cummings anywhere between about 3/4 of a second and 1 second back. And it just doesn't seem like Cummings has what it takes to bring that gap much closer. But we'll see what he can do. Still plenty of time. It'll be 10 to go at the line. So we're closing in on the end of this race. And Eric O'Connor's gap continues to grow over Jolene Sims. Cummings runs into the grass there. That's going to be a huge opportunity for Min Hang to expand this lead. They do have to keep an eye on a Jonathan Amodio, who is off track up here. That is unfortunate for the 7 car. Looks like his car might be done for the day. So even after running off there through the entrance just before the kink, you see Jake Cummings closes that up as they come down Canada Corner and up through the final sector of the track. He's going to be able to make this a run here into turn 14. Look to the inside. Oh, he catches the grass. And that's going to be into the gravel trap for the 95 car. That's going to be his chance at 4th place. Will be able to hold on to top 5, though, because Tim Moore is still a long way off. That is unfortunate there for the 95. So given a mistake from the 2 car, it looks like our top 5 are locked in at this point. Although Shelley, not too far off Jolene Sims. You can see Sims going through Moraine Sweep now, turn 4. And you got Shelley also going through turn 4. So there's a chance he can try and catch her. But if we take a look at lap times, other than last lap, she's been gapping him a little bit. He actually had his fastest of the race, though, with the 2:12.1. That gap between Jolene Sims and Isaac Shelley is down to about 3 seconds now at this point. So if Jolene Sims needs to find a little bit of extra pace here, that 98 car is closing in on his best finish of the season so far if he can continue this march that he has been on. But 9 laps to go. Still plenty of time because this track, like I've said before, is over 2 minutes long. 4 miles. Plenty of time to be able to gain some time. We'll see if he can continue pushing that pace. It's really interesting taking a look here at the timing board. You actually see a lot of these drivers in the top 6, other than Jolene Sims and Isaac Shelley. We've had everybody stay in their spot that they started, and Eric O'Connor was pole. He's still there. Min Heng was 4th. Jake Cummings 5th. Tim Moore was 6th. Jojo and Shelley just flip-flop their spots they started in right now. So we'll see if maybe we'll have the top 6 finish where they start. We'll have to see, though. Still your hard charger for the night. James Mendez, Jonathan Amodio, and Tyler Glass, the ones that moved up the most. Really trying to push this car for everything it's worth. Just can't seem to close that gap anymore here to Jolene Sims. Looking back at Watkins Glen, Shelley finished 4th in the first road course of the season, so a 3rd place for the second road course. Definitely a good spot to be. Even a 3rd place is a good finish, but he definitely wants that 2nd. Trying to see if he can continue his climb up the point standings. But he's losing time a little bit on Jolene Sims as we go through the carousel. The one thing I love about this schedule, though, if we were to take a look at it, when it comes to the road courses, there are 3 very unique road courses. You've got Watkins Glen that is it's more speed focused, while with at least the configuration that they run with NASCAR. And oh, that is a huge lock up there from Shelley, going to cost him a lot of time on Jolene. He's now over 4 seconds back and has to work real hard to be able to close that gap up with just 8 laps to go in the race. But back to what I was saying about the schedule, they did it's really nice seeing 4 very unique road courses, because Watkins Glen is more speed focused. It's not as technical as we have here at Road America. Road America, a lot more tighter corners, a lot more hard braking. It's a lot more technical of a course compared to Watkins Glen. Watkins Glen is more sweeping corners. You have that carousel that is a downhill, pretty wide sweeping corner that you can take off throttle. Here, you have to it's kind of on and off throttle depending on where you're at in the corner. You've got a lot more 90-degree corners, a lot of tighter turns, things like that. Then the Charlotte Roval, completely different because you run through the infield. Not as lot open spaces. It's a lot of short runs down the track. You get onto the NASCAR portion of the track. You actually get onto the banking, stuff like that. So there's a good mix there. It's a very technical track to run, the Charlotte Roval. Then you go to the very limited parameters of the Long Beach circuit. Long Beach, I've personally never raced there before, but I'm really excited for the race later this season at Long Beach, because it's going to be really interesting to see how these cars run at Long Beach. I personally have never seen any races on iRacing with the Gen 7 car at Long Beach, but I just last week we just had these Gen 7 cars at the Chicago Street Circuit, so not quite the same, but similar, because you have street course racing. You have very tight parameters with the walls being there. You don't have the runoffs, stuff like that. But it's going to be interesting to see how these cars handle Long Beach. They were tough to handle around Chicago Street. A lot of drivers struggling for grip, really struggling to get pace. But from what I've heard, Long Beach is a much smoother drive than Chicago Street. The Chicago Street Circuit scan for iRacing is very, very bumpy. I know in real life they did smooth it out a little bit more for the NASCAR race. They tried improving the circuit a little bit. It was still incredibly bumpy. If you go watch any of the NASCAR broadcasts, you see this car still rattling around all over the place to come through the track. But Long Beach will be a really exciting one to watch, that's for sure. As we come into the closing laps, Jolene Sims has fallen off a little bit. She actually finds herself about 4 seconds still, closer to 4.5 seconds ahead of Isaac Shelley. But you can see Canada Quarter's really been getting Isaac Shelley. He's been locking up a good bit coming through there. Taking a look here at Jolene Sims. She's trying to hold on to that lead that she has over Isaac Shelley. That gap now within 4 seconds from him. We'll see if she can continue to hold on to that lead that she has over the 98 car and get a second place finish. She's been looking for good finishes here. She won the old Atlanta race, but then outside of that has not had a top 3 finish. She's had great pace at every track we go to, but just it either comes down to a decision or an incident that she gets involved with that drops her back. But yes, she has won a race, but outside of that one win she had at Atlanta, her best finish was a 5th place at Watkins Glen. So unfortunately, consistency has been a huge issue for this 6 team, but a great run here from Jolene so far, keeping her in front of the 98 car of Isaac Shelley. Now 6 laps to go. And we might get Eric O'Connor passing his teammate Tim Moore within these 6 laps. He is getting closer and closer to the points leader. And let's go check in on the points leader and see how he's been doing. We haven't really seen him too much outside of the opening laps. He's been pretty much just running his own race at this point, staying out of trouble, keeping the car on track past those couple opening laps. And while he might not be the fastest, he's been consistent. And that's helped a ton. Him, James Mendez, big benefactors of consistency. Because there are drivers like you see Schulenberger, a fast driver, but he just hasn't been very consistent. Had issues keeping the car on track, as well as Kyle England, another one. He was very fast, but had a lot of troubles keeping the car on track, and then, unfortunately, blew the engine up. And so that ended his race a little early. I would assume after today, Tim Moore will still retain his points lead, which is crazy to think that your points leader for the season has yet to find a win. He has come so close throughout this season. He was hoping Kansas was going to be his night. It was not. He found himself, if I remember correctly, was 2nd place. He was, let's see, he was going to win New Atlanta. Tried to make a bold move, ended up getting wrecked, taking out some teammates as well. Doesn't like talking about that race. Charlotte was a 3rd place finish for him. Auto Club was a 3rd place finish. Daytona was a 2nd place finish for him. So he has been right on that door, as well as Isaac Shelley. Him and Isaac Shelley are those that finish up front. Just can't seem to find their way into victory lane, and it just is not going to be again tonight here for Tim Moore. But he kind of expected that. He talks all the time about how he doesn't like the road courses. He is not very fast to them. His big goal is just keeping the car on track and keeping the car steady. And we've seen him do quite a decent job at that here tonight. Checking back in with Min Hang. He has found himself all by himself ever since Jake Cummings clipped the grass going through turn 14 and spun that car around. And it's just been smooth sailing here for the 2 car. He's got quite the gap to go to Isaac Shelley. It's about 16, 17 seconds on both ends, so not really under too much stress here at this point. But we do have a battle going on track. James Mendez and Schulenberger back at it again. Schulenberger, you can see that front end beat up quite a bit because he made contact with the 92 when the 92 spun around. And it has been a long journey here. It's been about 10 laps or so for the 5 car to get it back, and he almost spins it, clipping the grass. But he's looking to get back into 7th place. Can he get it done? 5 laps to go, not a lot of time. And don't look far. A little bit behind these guys, sorry, just entering the carousel. 98 in the 6 car. Almost 1 second apart as well. You can see the distance. It's not much. Just about... It's about 1.25 seconds back to Shelley. Too far for him to be in the draft, but... if he can keep closing this gap up little bit by little bit, 4 to go. Has plenty of time to try and make moves, and there's a lot of good passing zones here around Road America. As he's now within a second as they come up the hill around to turn 13, around to 14. To get onto the front stretch. If he can get a good exit, maybe gain another 10th or 2. He gets a phenomenal run out of turn 14. And brings it down to a half second at the line. Can he continue marching forward here? Put some pressure on the 6 car. See if he can get a 2nd place finish here at Road America. Gotta love that great view from the tree line. They head through turns 1, 2, and 3. Uses all of that exit curbing, but it ends up slowing up a lot there. Ends up using a lot of time going through that corner exit. Big lockup from Jolene Sims. Going to give Shelley an opportunity. Going to go past nice and easy. Oh, never mind. They are side by side heading into turn 6. He clears Jolene, but the pressure is going to be on because she's been able to keep pace through these slower speed corners. They get ready to head into the carousel. Gonna push hard on the entry. Looks maybe to get a little bit of the nose on the inside. Can't get it there though. So they get ready to go through the kink. Down the long straightaway. Jolene Sims gets a good run through the kink. Is she gonna look to the right side? Isaac Shelley defending that right side, looking to block. Can't get the inside. Jolene Sims almost making contact there with Shelley as they come through the Canada corner through turns 12 and 13 up the hill. And he's had phenomenal exits on 14. Can he get another one of those? He build this gap on Jolene Sims. She is able to carry so much speed. He's going to run all the way to the inside there. She's right alongside as they come down the front stretch. 3 to go here. Eric O'Connor, smooth sailing here. He's got himself about a minute gap to these two, but the battle for second is on, and it is exciting here. Heading into turn 1, Isaac Shelley concedes position. Trying to set up here as they go on the exit. Goes for the slower entry, faster exit, looks to the right side. She goes to the right. He goes to the left. He's going to look for a wide entry. It's going to help him carry more speed through the exit. Gonna have the run as they come through the moraine sweep through the Sargento cheese sign. Down towards turn 5. Will he make a move to the inside through turn 5 in the heavy braking zone? He will. They are side by side as they go down to this 90-degree turn. He gets a lot of braking. Is not gonna clear. Now is clear on the exit. Is able to get a little bit better run than Sims. They come through 6. Jolene gonna be looking to make that move back. We saw her make the move through Canada corner. Bring that gap pretty close. We get ready to move up to the carousel. She is right on that bumper, right on that back door, looking to make a move. On board on the back end here of the 98 car. 2 to go now as Eric O'Connor gets the popsicle sticks in the air from Barney the Flagman. Now we let it rip as we head down towards the kink. A very good run into the kink from Sims. She's able to carry so much more speed than Shelly through that corner. Is she going to look to go to the right side here? Decides to just hang back through Canada corner, almost getting up to make contact. A little bit of a slide there from her on exit. Up the hill we go. Watch out, turn 14. She had a lot of momentum through 14 on the exit. Was able to bring it side by side as we went into turn 1. Runs it a bit wide, and that's going to be a spin. Jolene Sims spins it on the exit of 14 as she runs it just a bit wide and now has to get moving. Otherwise, teammate Min Hang is going to come and pass. That is really unfortunate. Therefore, the 6 car had the opportunity to push back for second place. That is going to all but lock up Isaac Shelley for second place. Battle for 7th is still on. Schulenberger trying over and over to make a move on James Mendez. Can't seem to get it. They go through turns 5 and 6. Loses a little bit of time. He's going to try and see if he can close it back up through the second half of the track. He's been really quick. Just can't seem to find a good passing opportunity over the 92. And Eric Connor coming around turn 14 for the second to last time. White flag is out. And we're on to our last lap here at Road America for the Thank You OMA Fans 40. Schulenberger tries to get a little bit too much on the entry there. Is not able to get a very good run in. We'll see if he's going to be able to get an opportunity to the right side of Mendez. Goes late on the braking. Is not going to be able to get the nose in there, though. They're going to try and set it up again. Turn 14. He keeps peeking that inside on the corners, but just doesn't have enough to get that car in there. And because of the way he took the line through 14, ends up killing some of his momentum on exit. He's losing time to Mendez as they go down the long front stretch. They take the white flag, still battling it out for 7th place. And in turn 1, can he bring this back? Schulenberger has had many good runs. He's been struggling to keep the car on track at times, but has been really good on pace. As Mendez makes a slight mistake, he's going to try and capitalize here as they go down the Warring Sweep. Underneath the Sargento cheese overpass, and here we go down towards turn 5. Will he make a move into turn 5? He looks not there. Is going to settle in behind the 92. These two just took the white flag. Oops, wrong one there. There we go. Jolene Sims and Min Hang. Really interesting here that these two came back together. Teammates fighting here for 3rd place. Not sure what happened to Jolene there. She was wobbling a good bit there on the exit of turn 4. Maybe that car just very unsettled after her spin. But Eric O'Connor, the rookie, getting his 2nd win of the season. The 2nd repeat winner we have here in Season 10 of the OMA VRC. He takes back-to-back road courses, Watkins Glen, and now Road America. Back to the battle, though, for P3. Jolene Sims gaps Min Hang a little bit, about a half second between the two. Get ready to come through the carousel. Jolene's expertise here tonight has been the kink. She gains a lot of time through the kink. And she get a little bit of gap to her teammate here as they come through. Get ready to go up to Canada Corner. He gets a better run. Has a lot of speed coming up. Is he going to look to pass? He looks to the right side. Gets up side by side. It looks like she's just going to let through Min Hang. That's going to be third place for the rookie. And she pull up side by side. Is not going to be able to. Doesn't have it for him. That's going to be a fourth place for Jolene. Min Hang will run away with third. There is your race winner, Eric O'Connor. Still have a few drivers to come around and finish their lap. And then we'll be able to get you the final results here for tonight's race. A great drive from Eric O'Connor. And it makes me wonder, are we going to see him take 3 straight road wins? Will he be able to take Long Beach? Oh, I wonder what happened to Jolene Sims. He ran out of fuel. Yeah, it looks like JoJo ran out of fuel. He comes across the line. And that is the race for her. So what was a podium finish finds her outside of the top 5. That is unfortunate, but let's go take a look here at the final standings now that they are finished. Here's your unofficial results here for Road America. So race winner, back-to-back road course wins, is Eric O'Connor. Isaac Shelley takes second place. Rounding out the top 3 will be Min Hang. Jake Cummings finishes in 4th place, so what a way to come back after taking a big absence. And then Tim Moore, out of nowhere, comes and takes a top 5. Jolene Sims ends up falling back to 6th. She's the last car on the lead lap. Then taking 7th will be James Mendez, so a very consistent day for him. Maybe not the fastest, but he gets a good finish in 7th place. Brandon Schulenberger in 8th, Jonathan Amodio in 9th, Tyler Glass rounds out the top 10 in 10th. Then Kyle England in 11th, Jared Newton in 12th, JT Sipes in 13th, Kevin Yerguez in 14th, and then Brad Qualls rounds out the field in 15th. Let's see if we have our drivers in here for some interviews. It looks like we do. Let's get our race winner, Eric O'Connor, in here. So taking back-to-back road courses, how does it feel to get your second win? It's the second driver to be a repeat winner here this season.
It's real satisfying that this was a real good win. Man, I kind of had a feeling, seeing how things were in practice leading up to the race, that this could be a possibility, but I thought more people would two-stop and I realized JoJo wasn't going to make it. I mean, sorry, one-stop. I realized JoJo was going to have to two-stop it when I was on her in that first stint. But, man, it's a crazy race.
Yeah, it was a crazy race. You had phenomenal pace all race long. So, going back throughout this race, early on, it was really good battling back and forth. What was your strategy early on in the race? Because we saw you riding behind JoJo for a while. It almost seemed like you were being patient, waiting for an opportunity. Because looking back to Watkins Glen, you had to fight through the field a good bit to get to the front, and you had to hunt down Min Hang. Here, you were up at the front the whole race.
Yeah, I started in second gear for the start. I didn't really think to do a practice start. I just kind of figured second would be the move. It definitely was not. But I wasn't worried. I was like, well, as long as I just get through this first lap clean, because by the time you get through the carousel on the first lap, everything's kind of spread out, so you can kind of settle in there. So that's kind of what I did. Just kind of took it easy. I think I had another little mistake on the second lap, and I fell to fourth. But yeah, I just was taking it really easy. I knew I had the pace, and I realized in practice that this was going to be a fuel mileage race, which I wasn't super stoked on, but I luckily had it dialed. I mean, that whole race, from the drop of the green, I was just fuel saving. Like, there was really no point where I was like actually going for a full blown, like, full send lap.
Well, for fuel saving, I mean, you definitely did a really good job. You had the fastest lap of the entire race of a 2:10.9, so that is really impressive. But before we have you go, looking forward to the next road course, we've got Long Beach. Do you have any experience with the Cup car at Long Beach?
No experience with the Cup car at Long Beach, but I have a lot of experience at Long Beach. It's a favorite of mine. I'm looking forward to it. I know right now we're kind of trying to figure out some setup stuff because I don't think we got a setup that quite gets around there the best. So we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hope we can do it because I think that'll be a fun race, and I'm looking forward to that one for sure.
Yeah, seeing that in the Cup cars will definitely be interesting. I think it will be more entertaining racing, at least on the iRacing side, than the Chicago Street Circuit was. So we'll see how that all goes. But before we have you go, anybody you would like to thank or say before you head on out?
Yeah, just a big shout out to Backstage Guitar Lab. Again, if you're anywhere out in the St. Louis area and you need some work done on your guitar, check them out. They do great work. You can also get get a different paint job on it. They do a fantastic job there. So just huge thanks to them. It means a lot being able to support them.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Eric, for joining us up here in the booth. Congratulations on your second win of the season.
Thank you.
All right. So now joining us up in the booth, our second place finisher for tonight, the driver of the 98 machine, Isaac Shelley. And Isaac, that was a really good battle you had there with Jolene Sims for a while. It's kind of unfortunate the way it ended, but I figure from your end, it was probably a huge breath of relief.
Yeah, that was a really fun battle at the end.
Yeah, she was putting up a good fight. It almost seemed like she was gonna be able to make a run there, but she caught that outside line and it just sent her.
Yeah, I did the same thing at the last corner.
Okay.
It's unfortunate. Great battle though.
Yeah, so all race. I mean, so we checked in with you a couple times. It just not the most exciting race, but you ran consistent, you ran steady. When it comes to these kind of races where it does spread out at times and you're running just kind of your own race, what is your mentality going through that? Because it can be tough just driving and you're just putting laps in at that point.
Yeah, it's just trying to stay focused, not zone out. Yeah, that was really the main thing, and that second half of the race for me probably the floppiest part of a race I've ever done. I was all over the place. Spun out on cold tires, and I was off the track every other. A mess. So it was just really trying to stay, consistent, smooth, and ultimately that's why Eric destroyed us all because he's just able to. I don't understand how it's real. Like, so smooth, doesn't put a foot wrong. Like, perfect the whole time. It's really something that he can do. But yeah, just trying to stay smooth. I think I did that really well the first half of the race. Like I
Yeah,
said,
you did a
spun
really
out on
good
cold
job just
tires.
keeping the car steady.
Yeah.
I mean, every time we checked in with you, it was consistent lap times. The car was moving nice. You weren't overextending anything like that. So I know the second half you were pushing a little bit harder, trying to see if you can catch up with Jolene, but still really good job racing here tonight. Now, taking a look, you still haven't gotten a win. You have gotten so close so many times. Are we, before the regular season is over, are we going to see this 98 car in victory lane?
Yeah, I think so. Just got to get everything to click. That's the Drew and Tim and Eric and Joey, like they're just all so good. Hard to put everything together and beat them. But it's going to be really rewarding when we do.
Oh,
Because
it's going to be a long time coming, that's for sure.
yeah, it's been like you look back and you're just like, oh, if I did this or if I did that, like if I went Atlanta Super Speedway, Charlotte, have problems there.
Well, a couple tracks that are in your wheelhouse coming up here soon, so we'll see if we can get that 98 car in victory lane. But before you head on out for the night, anybody you would like to thank, anything else you would like to say?
Yeah, everybody at McGinnis Motorsports, oh, fast tonight, getting the top 5 likely.
All right, well, thank you again for joining us up here in the booth, Isaac, and congratulations on your second place finish.
Yep, thank you, man. You have a good night.
You too. All right, so we're going to bring in our third place finisher here for tonight, the driver of the number 2 machine, Min Hang. And Min, that end of the race, unexpectedly saw you catch up with teammate Jolene Sims, but she unfortunately caught the grass on the exit of 14 and spun, but then ran out of gas as well. So going through your race, I mean, you had quite the battle with Isaac Shelley earlier. Then you ended up getting into the grass a little bit, ended up falling back, and you had a long battle that lasted almost the entire race with Jake Cummings. What all was going through with your car, with you and everything throughout this race? Because it was just constant. You were back and forth with different drivers.
Yeah, so I wasn't really taking it like that serious at the beginning. I was like, okay, I'll just relax, what do you call it? Lap 1 mentality kind of.
Yeah.
For like except for 20 laps, and then yeah, just a few mistakes here and there. I think the first time I went into grass, I just wasn't expecting it. A couple of other times, I was just not paying attention to break point, whatever. But yeah, overall good day. It's just it's still regular season, so my mindset's changed from winning races to just making sure I'm good for the points, because maybe I want to go a race without what do you call it? I want to be able to not attend a race and still be good. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
these good runs are just what we need. And funny story, I made a deal actually at the end of the race. I was like, hey Jolene, I think you should give up the spot, because I did a pretty master blocking job at Atlanta like 2 weeks ago. So I was like, hey, you should give me the spot. But if I had known she was gonna run out of fuel, I wouldn't have said anything. You know what I mean? Like, so I wish I maybe retract it, but it is what it is.
That's funny. Well, it was interesting watching, because like we saw her, she had the gap on you, and then all of a sudden it just disappeared, and then you guys go into Canada Corner and she just drops off. I didn't realize she ran out of fuel until after the fact, so I'm like, is she in the wall? And nope, she was sitting there running out of gas. So it was unfortunate for her, and I hate to go back to it again, but yeah, I mean, looking through your race, it might not have ended the way you wanted it to start, because you were up there battling at the front early, but I think you did a phenomenal job being able to bring it back for third place.
Yeah, we wouldn't have finished much farther, or what do you call it, behind if we made mistakes or not. Like, best would have been second, because Eric was super fast, literally running qualifying laps like 20 laps or 15 laps into the run. So yeah, second was probably the best choice, and we ended up finishing third. So it's definitely not bad.
Yeah, so looking forward, we'll see how your season's going to go. You're right now in, like, I think it was 5th or 6th in points, if I remember correctly. So you're in a good spot. Tonight's going to help, that's for sure. And we're over halfway through the regular season, so you're in definitely a good spot to be getting ready for playoffs.
Oh yeah, it's just, again, just setting up the right mentality for the thing. It used to go for winning races at the beginning of the season, because we had a bunch of races, and now it's just like, okay, let's just stay on the points, and the playoffs are what's going to come next, and that's what I want to focus on. So, and we should have a good outing then, because I have a few racetracks in there in my wheelhouse, so we'll see.
All right, so before we have you head on out for the night, anything else you would like to say? Anybody you would like to thank?
I guess thanks, Jake. We had a pretty good tussle there, race clean. We didn't try to bump each other out of the way or anything, just leave room and try to pass clean, even if it took a few laps. And thanks, Jolene, for the third place. Appreciate it.
All right, well, thank you, Min, for joining us up here in the booth. Congratulations on your third place finish tonight.
Sir.
All right, so next week we are going to be heading to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but With that all being said, I want to take a moment to thank you all again for joining us here at Nolan Gaming and Racing Lights Productions for the Online Motorsports Association's Virtual Racing Championship. Thank you, OMA Fans 40. Congratulations to Eric O'Connor for getting his second win of the season, as well as his second road course win. Next week, make sure you join us as we head to one of the most iconic racetracks in the United States, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You can also catch us live Tuesday night. We are going to have some short track racing with the American Motorsports Association. Their inaugural season kicks off at Hickory Motor Speedway at 9 o'clock Eastern. So make sure you join us Tuesday night for that, for some late model stock racing. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast tonight, and I want to thank the OMA for allowing us to bring this race to all of you. Be sure to check out Racing Lights Productions on Twitter with @RacingLightsPro, as well as over on Instagram and Facebook. You can also head over to YouTube to check out any previous broadcasts that you may have missed. I'm Alex Lights saying good night to you from the virtual Road America. Thanks again for tuning in.